make your way over to the stage. I think you'll be able to hear better. Thank you so much. A very warm welcome to you all. Excellencies, Assistant Secretary Generals, partners, artists, distinguished guests, colleagues and friends. I'm Jennifer Stansel. I'm from the United Nations Secretariat and absolutely delighted to help moderate this set of speaking engagements along with my dear friend and colleague Sergey. This exhibit serves as an excellent reminder of the importance of compassion, disability inclusion and accessibility. It reminds us of our shared humanity, which is more important than ever right now, and deeply resonates with the mandate of the UN. As the poem of Emily Dickinson so beautifully says, if I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. Our heartfelt congratulations to the artists, and we're going to kick off now a series of speeches to just recognize their work and this important initiative. So to start off with, I would like to now invite the co-sponsoring entities from the UN, our Assistant Secretary General, Marta Helena Lopez of the Office of Human Resources. Marta Helena, over to you, please.
Good afternoon, good evening. Okay, excellencies, delegates, officials, partners, friends, guests, and dear colleagues, I'm really delighted to be this evening with you, an evening of celebration of compassion and disability inclusion. And as we recognize compassion, I do feel this is a key word really to mobilize support for full inclusion, dignity, rights, and well-being of persons with disabilities. I'm so grateful to be co-sponsoring this event. I'm from the Department of Management, Strategy, Policy and Compliance, and it's really great that after so many weeks and months, together with my partners, we were able to have this week with you. And before I go on, I do have to thank two wonderful artists. Mix and Mark, really a big thank you for making this happen. It is really inspiring to see this exhibition. An exhibition with 30 individuals from completely diverse backgrounds who were photographed by the two artists using sign language to express the Emily Dickinson poem, one of my favorite ones. And the poem's words are also impressed in Braille on the stunning interactive sculpture that we see nearby. The poem, Compassion, resonates deeply with all of you. And Jennifer started with a few words, but let me wrap it up. If I can stop one heart from breaking, I shall not live in vain. If I can ease one life, the aching, or cool one pain, or help one fainting robin unto his nest again, I shall not live in vain. What a poetic expression on what is service and compassion. And this exhibit really excels in expressing that service and compassion. And it also reminds us of the inclusion that we want within the UN system and to leave no one behind. By focusing on removal barriers, there is where we are going to achieve true inclusion in the United Nations. And it also means how much culture, as reflected in communications, in language, in the heart, reflects what it is to live in this world, fully inclusion with everyone. So as we celebrate this week, I do want to express my gratitude to the partnerships, and particularly DGICM, but also DGC and DSS, that have made this event possible. Thank you again to the two artists, and my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one who was able to make it this evening. I truly trust you will enjoy this evening, and that this evening will leave a lasting impression on all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Martha Helena Lopez. I now wish to invite Sheriff Norman Chalet, Assistant Secretary General of the General Assembly and Conference Management in the UN.
Jennifer, thank you, and good evening to everyone. It's really my honor to be here representing the Department of General Assembly Affairs and Conference Management to be co-sponsoring this truly inspiring exhibit. Mark and Miggs, it is really incredible to see what you've done through sign interpretation and Braille, two of the services that we provide to the meetings here at the UN. I think it's a great symbol and showing the signs of compassion, which promotes compassion and understanding through photography and sculpture. As I said, sign language and Braille, and it also aligns with our priorities under the United Nations Disability Inclusion Strategy to raise awareness of the need to remove barriers, to enhance the provision of accessible services for the member states and for all participants that come through the doors of the United Nations. Those that are participating in conferences and events, and just to generally promote inclusion of persons with disabilities as well within our workforce. And by jointly co-sponsoring this exhibit together with the Department and the Office of Human Resources, we are very hopeful that this will sensitize visitors and highlight the various aspects of accessibility and inclusion here at the United Nations. As I said, we're one of the front-facing departments that provides services to the member states and to the participants of all the meetings here. And as we see the events happening, it's ever more critical to have a space for countries to come together. And so we, at the Department of General Assembly and Conference Management, expect that this installation will further enhance awareness and underscore the need for continued action to ensure disability inclusion in all areas of our work. We very much take to heart the motto put forward by persons with disabilities, that nothing about us without us, and strive to encapsulate this in our daily efforts. As we continue to make gains in enhancing accessibility for persons with disabilities in the meetings and conferences and events at the United Nations, it also requires that we continue taking action. And I think, again, having this exhibit and showing this to all that come through is very important. I just wanted to say we're also proud to be a sponsor and to manage the Accessibility Center, which provides assistive devices and Braille printing upon request. And we work very closely with the steering committee on accessibility. I'm very happy to see the two co-chairs here tonight that you'll hear from. But again, this dovetails very nicely. So Miggs and Mark, my thanks, along with Marta Helena, for your incredible rendition of the services that can truly enhance accessibility here at the UN. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I would now like to invite His Excellency Ambassador Christopher Liu from the Permanent Mission of the U.S. to the UN, and also the co-chair of the Steering Committee on Accessibility. Over to you, please.
Thank you so much, much for having me here. I don't need to tell anyone here tonight, especially everyone who works at the United Nations, about the many challenges that the world is facing at this very moment. And I can tell you, it feels a little overwhelming some days. But it's in these difficult times that the work we do at the UN matters most. And it's in these difficult times that we need to find all the different ways to celebrate hope and kindness and compassion. And that's why I'm so delighted to be here. The U.S. is proud to be the co-chair of the Accessibility Steering Committee, and we take on this leadership role because we know that inclusion and accessibility and equity doesn't just affect our work here, it has a powerful ripple effect that influences the cultures and the norms of the 193 countries that make up this organization. As co-chair, we advocate for accessibility for the people who work here, for the people who visit here, and for the billions of people whose lives are touched by the work we do here. The UN can be the shining city on the hill, the gold standard for others to follow. This exhibit wonderfully showcases the challenges to accessibility and all the many ways that we can overcome these challenges. It highlights the beauty of sign language and Braille and the importance for all of us to celebrate the need for more compassion in the world. We are proud of the progress that the UN has made to promote accessibility, and we look forward to working together to further that progress. Thank you.
I would now like to invite Stephanie Thomas, the Honorable Secretary of State of Connecticut. Thank you.
Honored to be here tonight representing Connecticut and to celebrate the incredible work of these two artists. Miggs and Mark, for me, are shining examples of the vibrant arts community we have in Connecticut, and I see many other Westport in particular artists here tonight, so I'm happy to see you here as well. I have the pleasure of viewing Miggs's work every day because he's very kindly donated some art to my office when I took office in January, and I remain in awe of the talent, and I'm so glad that many people from around the world will have an opportunity to see both your work and what you and Mark have accomplished here together. When Emily Dickinson wrote the poem over 150 years ago, she could not have foreseen the turbulence and division that surrounds us today. Yet the theme of compassion is particularly apt for our times, reminding us that even in a world divided, we can find common ground in empathy and kindness. Art and poetry have an incredible ability to unite and inspire us. Married here together tonight with American Sign Language, I hope that everyone who visits this exhibit will find inspiration and take a moment to renew their own commitment to building a more compassionate world. Miggs and Mark, well done.
I will now hand over to my co-moderator, Sergey, and he'll introduce probably the most wanted speakers, the artists.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. And now we ask to speak our distinguished artists, the ones who touch us with their art. Mark Yukiv and Miggs Burrows, please.
Mark made me go first. Hello, my name is M-I-G-G-S. Nice. Debbie Sorolla. There's so many people to thank, of course, at the UN who we've dealt with. Melissa Budnick, and Orly Joshimek, if I get the names right, and of course Sergei Pashkov, and Jenny Stanzel, and Sarah, and Julia. Anyway, it goes on and on. I'm so gracious and welcoming and allowed us to do this. And I owe an immense gratitude to Mark, who's been a great friend and a mentor and a fellow artist and a therapist. Because this has been a lot of details to take care of, and he kept me in check, I think. And of course, this all started, I have to recognize the director of the Westport Library, Bill Harmer, who was out there somewhere, and Chris Timmons, who was the exhibits director at the time. 6 years ago, this exhibit appeared at the Westport Library, and it was meant to honor the community that I grew up in, Westport, Connecticut, and honor, and in doing so, I wanted to make sort of an ensemble piece where they were, as a community, a chorus raising their signing voices to express this poem about compassion. So that's Westport, basically it's a cross-section of Westport, all these images, and a lot of you are here. I'm so grateful for them to let me have photographed them, and it's beyond belief that you're all here watching this. Essentially, I don't think of this as an art exhibit, it's a poetry exhibit. The poetry of Emily Dickinson, the beautiful timeless poetry. It's the poetry in motion of sign language. It's the visual, tactile poetry of Braille that's in that beautiful Braille wheel over there. And it's the power of all of us coming together like words in a poem to deliver this message of healing and compassion that's needed